Hello again, this is Andy Wilkinson from skinnygainmuscle.com, answering your questions on how to gain weight and muscle if you're skinny. So in this question and answer Blitz session, we're getting right into those questions. Thank you once again if you've been signing up for those 20 free videos that run through those 8 steps to healthy weight gain. If you've been asking and putting your biggest challenges and frustrations forward to me to get back to you with these videos. So let's move on once again. The first question comes from the United Kingdom. And this question is, my biggest challenge to gain weight is to keep at it and not let myself slip. We all suffer from this motivation levels from time to time. We need to figure out ways to deal with it, right? He continues, my frustration is that I work long hours and I don't have enough time to do everything, and I need something that works while I work. Well, something that works while you work, this is going to have to relate more, I guess, to the nutrition side and your rest and recovery. It's unlikely you're going to be able to do a workout during your work. The key thing here is that when you're not working out, and if you're at a desk job, the idea here is that you actually want to be as still and as still and relaxed as possible. Don't be burning up too many calories, fretting or worrying. Try and have a calm attitude in what you're doing and be consistent about getting those calories in throughout the day. The key thing here is, in terms of not letting yourself slip, is to plan. If we don't make a plan, we are ultimately planning to fail. You may have heard that expression. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So what you can do is simply take the time to mentally commit yourself to making the changes that are important to you, and then to set in line, in process, in motion, a daily routine that you can do which makes sure you do this. So whether it's having an alarm that goes off to remind you to do things at certain times, that can be very powerful. Whether it's a case of you schedule time out for your workouts during the week so you know exactly in advance, before your week begins, when those workouts are going to happen. And you commit to them in the same way that you would to any commitment that's really important. You block that time out. You make sure that that time is not going to get squeezed into by anything else. You say, I've got a firm commitment to do this, that's the time I've set aside for it, and it's going to happen. If people want to try and encroach on that, you defend that very staunchly, very adamantly, that you're going to make sure you get that workout done within that time. If you're pushed for time, do you need to get up earlier? Do you need to go to bed earlier to make sure you have enough sleep so you have the energy when you wake up in the morning? Is there ways for you to have easy access to weights between where you live and where you work? Think about these things. They can be very, very, very powerful to go about this stuff in advance to make sure that you can both fit in your work life and your leisure life and get this done. Do sacrifices need to be made in the short term for the results you want? Maybe. I'm not going to decide that for you, but it's certainly something that you may need to think about. Next question here is, the biggest challenge is not knowing how to put meals together as a challenge. It's hard to put the meal plan together. Yes, I agree. This is one of the main stumbling blocks a lot of skinny guys have, is being able to put these meals together. One resource I'll mention to you here, which I may not have mentioned before, you may have come across in some other videos that I've done, is a resource that's totally free called fitday.com, fitday.com. Now this is advertised as a weight loss website, but if you go there and sign up, it's free to do so, and check out the foods tab, you can actually start entering in the foods that you're eating on a regular basis to keep track. And they've got a whole database of foods that have been entered by their support staff team there, plus other members. They've got a huge database of foods, so you can start entering these in. It keeps track of not only the calories you're eating total, but proteins, carbs, fats, and you get to get a little pie chart graph each day to keep track of what you're doing, and then you can make adjustments over time with that. So that's one very powerful way, useful tip for you. Next, the question comes from Egypt. My biggest challenge is consistency. I do not like the feeling of a full stomach. Okay, we've got to get past that not liking a feeling of a full stomach. We've got to train our appetite to grow. I've covered those details in other videos about training your appetite, so you might want to check those out. But consistency is key. How important is this to you in your life? How important is making this change for you to acknowledge and to recognize that having a bit of a full stomach from time to time isn't the worst thing in the world? It can be a temporary measure. Your body's going to adjust, your appetite's going to adjust, and things are going to get easier over time. It's just a case of how much do you want to make this change. Think about it in those terms. How important is it to make this change in your life? What will making this change in your life do for you? What are the benefits, the advantages of this? And what are the disadvantages? What won't happen in your life if you don't make this change? Okay, just a few questions to think about. Right, next one. Question comes in all the way from New Zealand. Okay, biggest challenge is eating 6 small meals and trying not to eat fast foods. It looks and tastes so nice. And eating all the wrong types of foods. Okay. One principle that's probably worth mentioning here that I have in the system, Skinny Gain Muscle 17-week system, and as an overarching principle if you're skinny and wanting to gain weight in a healthy way, is to avoid the temptation of crap. Okay, we do not want to rely on oily, fatty, unhealthy foods as our way of gaining weight. We want a healthy approach to gaining weight and gaining muscle. So what does this mean? Well, avoiding the temptation of crap at home means that your cupboards are not stocked with foods that don't serve you well. And the other factor is that what can you do in terms of your daily routes, your daily journeys, to make sure that you're not brought too close to these temptations? So can you walk a different route to make sure you don't go past those fast food joints? Can you impose penalties on yourself if you do give in to these temptations? You've got to sort of build up these barriers, these walls to falling foul of these temptations. And once again, if you want to get rid of an old habit, replace it with a good habit. If you're not going to be doing that and eating those fast foods, what are you going to be having instead? Think about it in those terms, what you can replace about it. Replace the old habits with the good habits. Think about how you can do that, and think about how you can feel good about that. Keep your eye on the prize, the ultimate goal you're working towards, getting the results that you want. Keep those in mind, keep yourself motivated, keep yourself strong, and think about how important, once again, achieving the weight and size and muscle gains and muscle mass that you want. Think how important those are to your overall quality of life that you can look forward to. Next question from the United States. What if I can't fit in 5 to 6 meals per day due to being a full-time student right now? Is there any way that I can work around this to get in 3,000 calories a day without eating 5 to 6 times a day? Okay, first off, the most important thing is not necessarily having 5 or 6 meals. It's a case of noticing how many hours you're awake each day and eating consistently and regularly. The eat every 3 hours guideline I have is exactly that. It's a guideline. It's not a steadfast, set in stone rule. It's a method, a process to keep you in check, to make sure that you're eating regularly and consistently. And how creative can you be about this? Can you keep certain foods that last, tinned fruit, it could be canned tuna or what have you. Can you keep certain things in bags? Can you keep them in your locker place that you can actually get to throughout the day to make sure that you get the calories you need? Eating just 1 meal, 2 meals a day doesn't generally cut it for most skinny guys, because their calorie needs are far more than they're going to be able to handle, and their body's going to be able to handle in just 1 or 2 meals. So that's the reason we want to extend these calories out throughout the day, so that your appetite can adjust over time, you can deal with these calories, and your body can make use of these with consistent energy levels and a consistent supply of fuel throughout the day. They're the main reasons to keep in mind. There's not really a great way of getting around this. You might want to rely on some meal replacement shakes that you can drink very quickly in between some of your lessons or lectures or what have you maybe. Or there's an idea for you, but once again we need to be consistent about what it is that we're doing. Okay, next question comes in from the UK. My muscles get pumped up during the workout, but very soon it gets back to its original size no matter what. Okay, whenever we do strenuous exercise involving our muscles, we're going to get something called a blood pump, where blood rushes into that muscle. That's what the pump is responsible for, and quite naturally after a certain amount of time that blood pump is going to go away. It's not the same as the effect of building muscle size over time, which has a more lasting effect. So just bear in mind there's a difference between getting a blood pump and getting muscle size. Muscle size is also going to rely on you getting your nutrition right and having enough calories each day and training in the right way a certain amount of times each week with the right exercises. Okay, and that brings us to over the 9-minute mark with this video, so let's tail it off here. Thank you once again. I hope this has been helpful to you. My name's Andy Wilkinson from skinnygainmuscle.com. I hope this resource has been handy, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon. So go put these lessons that you put into action and have fun. Goodbye.